everybody, it's Tim from Par2 Pro. Thanks for joining me today and from our Edmonton, Alberta showroom. Today we're going to talk about the Mevo Plus, and specifically it relates to putting issues. What I've been getting is an uptick in calls in the last couple weeks in regards to Mevo Plus. Not reading shots, going hard left, just doing very strange things. So I thought I'd come into the studio, do some testing, try out some various balls, some distances, various software, things like that to give you the best tips to have the most accurate and best enjoyable experience as it relates to putting specifically. I will address Mevo Plus radar issues in a different video perhaps, not this one here. Things like environmental settings, things like that. They play a factor in putting, but that's more of a bigger conversation. Today we're going to be micro-focused on putting issues alone. So I've created a list of about 12 things to do, check to get the best and most accurate putting settings out there. First of all, I'll start off with my iPad. Okay, regardless if I'm connecting it to the computer here in the bay, I always set up the Mevo Plus in its position, and I'll do a target alignment via the FS Golf app. I will check the radar settings and check the various firmware. Currently, as of December 2022, the settings for AVR is 0.27 and DSP is 0.24. That's the current firmware settings. So you want to make sure that you're up to date on that. If you're watching this later on, obviously go into the FS Golf app, the radar settings, and download the latest firmware. Make sure it's up to date. Okay. Always do a target alignment. I make sure that I got a ball at the hitting area and then halfway to the screen, and then I'll do a target alignment and align those balls with the red line in the FS Golf app that runs down the middle. Don't pay attention to the white ball. It's a little offset. The red line is what you want to get those balls in line with. Okay, so that's going to help with directional stuff. Okay, another thing that while you're in the FS Golf app is check that the roll and the tilt is green. Okay, you can see here, I've got it on a table. My tilt, if you can see that, hopefully you can, is 10.7. We'll put up a screenshot. It's red, it's not great. But the roll is great, it's green, it's 0. Definitely a good thing to have is a 0 roll. And the radar tilt is going to be 12 degrees. Okay, it used to be 16 or 18, depending, but they've changed that. It's now going to be 12 degrees is optimal. There is a caveat to that. I have read online some guys have changed the tilt based on their setting because their putting wasn't working well. So I had one guy get it down to 7 degrees and it was working. I can't recommend that because I haven't tested it and I can't confirm it. That could have been just some random guy. But my point is, test within your environment. Sometimes it takes a little fine tuning. Okay, another step here beyond the tilt and the degree of roll is the distance the ball to the Mevo Plus itself. I've got it at 8 feet. That is the recommended manufacturer setting. Some people play around with it. I've heard 7 feet is good. I've heard 6 feet maybe. For me, 8 feet is fine for our regular shots. However, with putting, there's two things I noticed. I bring it back to about 6 feet, right in line with the Mevo Plus. 6 feet is the optimal distance for regular long lag putts over 10 feet. Anything under 10 feet where I was delicately hitting the ball, you got to be close to the Mevo Plus. We were about 3 to 3.5 feet, and that was where we found our optimal distance. Okay, that's just the way it is, unfortunately, for those soft putts. Best case scenario, 3.5 feet. That's where we had it for us. It could be different for you, though. Another big factor is, as it relates to putting, is you got the Mevo Plus sitting on the ground below the hitting mat, no good. What you want to do is have what I call a landing strip from the Mevo Plus all the way to your hitting mat, and you want to be level with the hitting mat if it's at all possible. FlightScope recommends 18 inches wide, no less. So anything over 18 inches wide, because not everybody can put full matting down behind their hitting mat. It's just too expensive and things like that. So what I call a landing strip, 18 inches wide from the Mevo, have the Mevo resting on top of it so it's exactly level with the hitting mat. Exactly. Okay. Another thing we want to mention is the type of balls that you use. For putting, regular balls. Okay. No dots, no metallic dot, and no RCT. For regular shots, those work fine. I found the RCT was great. Metal dot was fine. Okay. If you don't know, the RCT is a Titleist ball that was made specifically for TrackMan, but FlightScope has permission to be able to use it or have compatibility with those balls with their launch monitor as well, the Mevo Plus. Okay. So regular balls for putting, very important. Short putts, nice and close to the Mevo. That was our best option. Another thing I want to mention is putting technique. As I push through, I like to lift my club head up and out of the way of the radar. Don't get it in between the ball and the radar. That seemed to work the best for us. So I would recommend you, kind of feels awkward and weird to follow through and then lift it up, but if accuracy is what you're after, that's what I would recommend. Last point, software dependency issues. In my testing, I found E6, I tested 3 different pieces of software, GS Pro, E6, and TGC 2019. I had no problems with E6. I had no problems with GS Pro, really. I did have a few problems with TGC 2019. Great piece of software, love it, but fact of the matter is, any putting issues that I experienced were generally, there was just a few more with TGC 2019. Misreading, not reading, things like that. So what that says about the software, I can't say, but that was my experience, and I got to be honest with you and bring it to you guys directly here on YouTube. All right, and that's it. So hopefully these tips and tricks will help you get your putting in line if you're having trouble with it. Try some of these options. If you have further problems, please do give us a call, 877-417-2161. My name's Tim, tech support here. Be happy to help you walk through your particular setup and get it dialed in. For more information, call 877-417-2161. And again, go to www.par2pro.com for information on that and much more. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great one. Take care.